Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. That is Some Kind of Wonderful from Grand Funk
Yeah,
Railroad.
love it, man.
It's one of my
Great song.
favorite songs. I only just found out that's not that it's a cover, because everybody's pretty much covering everybody from the last 50 years, but that's a great song for a lot of reasons. I saw a little mini documentary on that. I love Grand Funk anyway, but I really love that song. So happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to the party, as I like to say. You are in the right place if you're looking to double your income with annuities and life products. My name is Michael Kaplan. I'm the head of marketing here at Global Premier Benefits. We're sponsoring and hosting this event along with Sean Ruggiero and Brokers International. I do want to put a little 2 cents out there on webinars. I feel like we've all been on a million webinars. I know I feel like I'm saying this every day now, but let's be mindful that if you're on camera, we can see everything your phone sees. If your microphone is on, we can hear everything you can hear. So let's be mindful during the presentation to turn your cameras off if you're not asking a question. Turn your microphone off for the same reason. There will be a Q&A at the end, so let's keep in mind, use the chat feature. I don't want you to forget your question. We can address that during the presentation as well as at the Q&A section. But this should be fun. We're going to learn how to double your income with a one-question sales system, as you've seen in the email and the marketing campaign for this event. I'm very excited to introduce Tony Holland, a managing partner over at Integrity, and he's going to be our co-MC for the day. Tony, good morning.
Hey, Michael, thanks for the introduction. Love
Yes,
that intro
sir.
song, man.
Some
It's some
kind of
kind of
wonderful.
wonderful.
It
And it's a
just puts you in
wonderful
a
day,
it,
man.
it
What's
puts you
that,
in a good
Michael?
mood. I said it
I'm in
puts you in a good
awesome mood.
mood. Yeah.
Love it, love it, love it. I think that's a great way to start out the day. I was listening to Coach Burke this morning. He said it's all about creating that energy, that synergy, to really go out there and make it happen for the day. So I'm really pumped up, excited, turned on because I have on the call today, for you guys that don't know, a legend in the business. A gentleman that I've gotten to know this past year, and I knew of him in previous years and in my experience in the insurance business for over 30 years. And I'm going to tell you, there's no one like Sean Ruggiero. He currently serves as the managing partner and national director of annuity distribution for Integrity Marketing Group. Sean's focus is on helping consumers, agents, and advisors with retirement readiness through the use of involving FIAs. Sean's expertise includes retirement income planning, wealth management, SaaS, insurance, credit, automotive, mortgage, and finance verticals. He was voted by Life Health Pro as one of the top 20 most creative people in insurance back in 2015. That award, that DIA award winner, also in 2016 in Barcelona. He's listed top 100 insurtech startups by Digital Insurance Agenda from 2016 to 2018. He's marketing consultant for three of the top 60 insurance companies in the United States. He's founder of SafeMoneySmart.org, a nonprofit dedicated to the awareness of alternatives to the stock market and retirement. He's also author of a great book you got to get if you don't have it. Author of the best-selling book, 7 Benefits of FIAs for Retirement. I really enjoy having Sean part of our organization, our team. We've been working together directly for several months now. And what's impressive about him, he's humble, he's down to earth. This is a man, when he was with FFL, did over 2 billion in annuity sales and oversees right now 8 billion as chief sales officer for Brokers International. Let's give it up for the legend, Sean Ruggiero.
I appreciate that, Tony. Appreciate that so much. Good to see you as always, my friend. Tony and I have been working hard. When you become a managing partner at Integrity, you think, okay, I've made it, right, Tony? I've done something big. Then you realize there's a lot more work ahead, and you and I have been doing that. So appreciate the introduction. Thank you so much.
Well, I just appreciate your humility the most, Sean, for all you've accomplished in your bio. It's truly amazing how down to earth you are. You're just easy to get along with, easy to talk to. A lot of guys that I've met throughout my career that have done what you've done have an arrogance, or they're above everyone else. You haven't changed a bit from the day you started the business to where you are now. So I'm just honored to call you a friend and a partner. You've been amazing to work with.
Likewise, Tony. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. We have a good turnout here. There are some people that are familiar with Global. There's some people that might be new to Global. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you, this is not hyperbole. We actually have created, in partnership with Global Premier Benefits, we have created a sales system And check this out. It is a sales system that is relying on one question. It's a magic question. We call it the golden question that will allow you, when you combine it with what Global has done exclusively on the back end, the tools and everything I am going to show you. You're going to get everything right here. You're going to get full transparency into this. It's going to allow you to double your income over the next year. And I know there are some trolls, Tony. I know there's some people who say double your income. Yeah, right. But you and I have seen it firsthand. We've seen this system work. And if you follow what the system is, and if you are willing to get slightly uncomfortable, right? That's how growth takes place. That's how it happens. Then you absolutely will double your income. And I'm going to show you how that works right now. We're going to have we're going to have the ability for Q&A at the end. And Michael, we are wanting, correct me if I'm wrong, Michael is kind of the guru on how we're going to keep this stuff correctly structured, but we want them to enter any questions into the chat. Is that an accurate statement,
Yes.
Michael?
Oh, yeah, we want to use the chat for a couple of reasons. Number one, if your memory is as good as mine, you're going to forget it in the next 20 minutes. So please type in your question in the chat. I have dad brain. I have a 2-year-old. That's why. But also, if your chat is pertinent to the item that's on the screen now, 5 minutes from now, we might not have that item on screen. We want to make sure it's relevant to that item. So in any case, yeah, let's use the chat feature for your questions.
Well, I turned 49 Friday, I think. Yeah, Friday. So next year I'll be 50. Michael, just wait till you get to be my age. Like I can barely remember stuff that I said 5 minutes ago. In fact, check your text message because I just forgot something we talked about prior to this. So check your text message and get back to me.
I just saw that.
All right, perfect. Okay, let's go ahead and get started here. So welcome to Global Premier Benefits. I'm your host today. I work for Global. I work to help them deploy this, and I'm not alone. I have a team. I have people such as Brad, people such as Wanda, people that work for Brokers International. We are also an integrity partner, and our job is to support the wholesalers like Global. So, hey, how do you double your income next year? And is this even real? You're going to finish this with some questions, hopefully some encouragement, and a roadmap or a blueprint on how you're going to do that using this one question sales system that has been created. So let's go ahead and get started. A little bit about myself, and Tony, I know you always laugh because I don't like talking about myself very much, but it is important you know who is speaking with you and why. And the why is what I'll explain the most.
Well, Sean, I'm gonna tell you what. By that picture there, you forgot that you were a professional bodybuilder. That's a ripped picture, man. I'm like, dang, I gotta hang out in the gym with him.
Yeah, well, I played football all the way through college. 1 year after for a team that you would never remember. They were in the Arena Football League for 1 year, the Portland Forest Dragons. So you can go ahead and look them up.
Wow.
And they folded after 1 year. But I always was, trying to achieve above my capabilities. I was an average football player, but you learn a lot, right? So many people. There's a statistic. I think 80% of first-round picks in the NFL are in debt or broke. I don't know how you interpret it. You can always twist statistics how you want.
Right.
But 8% were in debt or broke by the time they were 40 or 50 years old.
Wow.
And so. Yeah, I also have 4 kids I got to keep up with, 3 older boys that could all kick my butt, and my daughter who could kick anyone's butt. You got to stay active, and honestly, full transparency, it helps fight off depression. It helps fight off some of the anxiety that this world can create. One of the things I want to point out, I'm not necessarily going to go line by line, and I will pick up the cadence here. I won't bore you all, but I am you. I didn't come from a corporate background. I didn't, manage accounts or worry about what my PTO was. I'm cut from the same milk as Tony is. I was an entrepreneur. I was a salesperson. I was in the trenches. I was the one that was looking at someone who was a tobacco user and it took everything in me not to give them non-tobacco rates because I desperately needed to make the sale. And this is me taking the cover off and saying, I know how it is. I know the pressure that creates. When you are an independent insurance representative, you have a ton of potential, but you're also very lonely at times. And you can be motivated from time to time, but like Joe Rogan says, blank your motivation. It's discipline that makes sense, and tools and support. So understand that global is that support. And whether you have a home here or you don't, we're trying to show you what that support looks like. Not in a rah-rah. That's the motivation. And there's nothing wrong with a little motivation. But as I've always said, if I get motivated, Tony, you get me pumped up. Okay, when we last met in Dallas, I was pumped up. I was ready to run through a wall. Then what happens? Well, now I got to go probably to the hospital because I just ran through a wall. I got to patch up the wall. I got to pay the deductible, right? Motivation is great at times, but discipline, structure, and the system and the partners that you are with really will determine your long-term success. And I've always said this to everyone that I've met. My success never came easy, and I never did it by myself. No one gave me anything, but I had partners who, if we worked together, we could achieve a great deal. So I'm a managing partner in Integrity Marketing Group. I was one of their earlier acquisitions back in 2019. I technically sold 3 companies to them: my software company, Family First Life, and then the Advanced Markets Family First Life, codenamed Gplex. Tony explained a lot of the other stuff here. I do want to point out one other thing. I am a securities advisor. I still hold an IAR, a Series 65, and I'm quite versed in that. I have a CHFC, a CEP, an RICP, a WMCP, and an NSSA. I don't say that to brag. I say that I'm going to tie it together. I mean, I'm going to tell you why I have all those certifications and knowledge. But I say that because when I tell you as a fiduciary, as one of those financial advisors, and I'm assuming many of you don't hold securities license. Some of you do. Great. You'll get what I'm saying. But I say that because you're going to glean a great deal of confidence from what I say, because I'm going to give you the full gamut of what's out there and why an FIA, when it comes to 3 different things, and why an IUL, when it comes to 3 different things, are the best products for those benefits. And that's going to all make sense here in a little bit. So take confidence from that. As Tony said, I am the author of 7 Benefits of FIAs for Retirement. It's a very neutral, agnostic book that gives you great facts. And it's not just about FIAs, fixed index annuities. It's about retirement as a whole, 150 pages. And Michael and I are going to talk about how we're going to offer a little bit of promotion to try to help get this book in some of your all's hands for free. I do have a software background, the inventor of InsuranceDrip.com. And I currently serve as the Chief Sales Officer for Brokers International. Here's an important notice. It is very gratuitous. It is boring, but it is important to state. And if you're ever giving a presentation to a client, I strongly recommend that you have some sort of language like this. And you make it gratuitous. You make it very literal, and you make it understood, because it is very important. Sean Ruggiero, myself, Global Premier Benefits, Integrity Marketing Group, and its affiliates do not provide tax, legal, or accounting advice. This material has been prepared for informational purposes only and is not intended to provide and should not be relied on for tax, legal, or accounting advice. Please, you should consult your own tax, legal, and accounting advisors before engaging in any transactions. All right, so now that that's out of the way, let's talk about doubling your income. There's still some cynicism about doubling your income, right? What if you're making 50? What if you're making 500? How do I really double my income? Can I do it? The answer is yes. And here's the cool thing about it. Yes, you can do it. And Tony, it's with the same license you already have. Yes, you can do it. And wow, fantastic. No new leads, really no new investment whatsoever. There's no trick to this. This isn't a buy-in. This isn't a pyramid scheme. This isn't us pushing some other third agenda like a software package or anything like that. Everything that you see comes totally free and inclusive if you work with Global. And it's the same clients you already service. If you're in the Medicare space, Tony, you're working with people 65 and older, right? I mean, that's the wheelhouse of whom you work with. If we looked at 100 people who are 65 and older and 100 people who are 25 and older, which of those segments has the most potential to have annuity money, right? It's the 65 or older. It's fantastic, right? And that's who you're sitting down with. So same license, no new leads, same clients you already have. Global Premier Benefits, we're going to show you right now how you double that income. In order to do this, we need to have a better understanding of what we do as insurance agents. See, if I asked you, if I said, Wanda, what does a sixth grade English teacher do? You can answer that. You could say, well, they teach English to sixth graders, or they teach English at a sixth grade level. Right? That's great. That's probably the level that I read and write at, but so be it. Sixth grade English teacher, we know what they do. Now I'm going to take something slightly different. What does a diesel mechanic do? Now, Michael, I was once told that diesel engines don't use spark plugs. They combust based on compression alone, compression, just pressure. So it's, to me, it's wizardry. The way any internal combustion engine works. But I know nothing other than the fact that someone told me once that they don't use spark plugs. But how does a diesel engine work? I have no idea. I think it runs in some Abram M1 tanks. I think it runs in Chevy Duramax or Ford trucks. But I don't know anything about it. But if you asked me, Michael, if you said, what does a diesel mechanic do? I can tell you. They work on diesel engines. They repair diesel engines. They build diesel engines. That's what they do. So without even knowing how they work, I know what a diesel mechanic does. Where am I going with all this? Right? Tony, this is things like, what the heck am I talking about? What does an insurance agent do? What does a life insurance agent do? What does a health insurance agent do? See, unfortunately, what we have is we have people who are siloed. Now, what do I mean by that? They stick to one section. And if I asked 100 insurance agents what they do, I'd probably get, dozens of different answers. Because if you're an insurance agent who is focused on life insurance, what are you actually doing? You are helping to protect people's human capital. Now, what is our human capital? Brad, as you know, because you work on the life insurance side, human capital is our ability to do, learn, and earn. All right. So when I was 24, Tony, I had no money. Whatever, there's like broke, and then what's below that? Dead broke. I had someone tell me destitute. I was like, well, that was me. I was destitute, right? I was destitute, dead broke, had nothing when it came to financial capital. But what did I have? I had human capital, right? I was a hard worker. I was capable and able and willing to learn. I had human capital. And when someone asks you, what is your number one asset? It is your human capital. It really is. Because human capital represents time, and it is the most finite asset and is the equalizer. You hear that all the time, but it is very true. You each get 24 hours a day. You each get 365.25. Did you know that? There's actually a quarter extra day each year. That's why every 4 years we add an extra day called leap year. I was working with my son on his solar system science, and I got that reiterated. So we have 365.25 days a year. Time is finite. Time is the most valuable thing you have. You will never get it back. Time wasted is never recaptured. So that is our human capital. Now, in an idyllic situation, what do we do, Tony, with that human capital? We exchange it, quite literally, for financial capital. I did not have a father growing up, so I reference my wife's father, who was a wonderful human being, a wonderful man who has always treated me well. And I look at his career at Boeing. So I grew up in Seattle. I still live, my primary residence is still close to Seattle, just on the border of over in Idaho in a place called Coeur d'Alene. And my father-in-law worked 42 years at Boeing, 42 long years at Boeing. He exchanged a ton of his human capital, but in return, he had a pension plan. He had a defined contribution plan. He was paying into Social Security. He paid off his house. He built up bank accounts. He built financial capital. And at some point, there's an intersection. As your human capital is waning, your financial capital is growing. And at some point, your financial capital is so much superior, so much more superior to your human capital, that is when you retire. Okay, that's the theory. And everyone's different. Tony, I've met with someone who is 81 years old. And you and I both know there's not a lot of 81-year-olds who are insurable, especially if they have COPD. 81 years old in Caldwell, Idaho, kind of a poor county in southern Idaho. And he was still working at a cheese factory. He had a pension from his previous job. Actually, it might have been military pension. He was making some money, right? But he had no financial capital. So everyone looks a little different. There's other people who sold a business early on or had a big inheritance. All of a sudden, they have a large infusion of financial capital. My point being is that everyone's situation looks a little different. But as an insurance agent, we don't just sell life insurance and protect human capital. At least we shouldn't. We should focus on that. That should be what I like to say an arrow in the quiver, right? We can pull that out, but we also protect financial capital. And Michael, many of the people listening to this are Medicare agents. What are you doing when you sell a Medicare policy? You're protecting financial capital against a lot of unknowns, when it comes to end-of-life care, when it comes to health care in retirement. Well, you know what else protects financial capital? Annuities, specifically fixed indexed annuities, the number one annuity that we sell for good reason. So here's what I'm saying. Understand that you need to expand your knowledge and you need to challenge yourself. We're going to teach you and show you how with the golden question, how to use both your license to protect human capital and sell life insurance and your license to use to protect financial capital and sell Medicare supplements and fixed index annuities. And now we're offering complete protection. Because the hardest thing in this industry, and Tony, I know this is a rhetorical amen, but the hardest thing in this industry is getting in front of a client and getting them to listen to you. Once you do you want to be a one-trick pony? Do you want to have one conveyor belt? So you have this funnel of people, and then you have a conveyor belt where you sell a Medicare policy, Medicare policy, Medicare policy. Or for some people, it's a term policy, or final expense, or whatever it might be. Or would you rather have a sequence of products that you can sell? So you could sell the multiple products, retain them, keep their loyalty, get more referrals, and maximize the return on investment when you actually get to sit down with that client. And I think that answer is obvious. It's the latter. So strive for complete protection. I'll give you one last analogy, and I promise you most of the slides move faster than this. My favorite football team is the Seattle Seahawks. I grew up in Seattle. If you gave Seattle Seahawks the best running back, the best offensive line, you traded for Lamar Jackson, who can run the ball, you had the best run blocking receivers, you'd think, okay, I can run the ball effectively. And you're going to be the number one rushing team in the NFL. But if I said to you, you can only run, you cannot pass, do you know how many games they're going to win in a 17-game NFL season? The answer is 0, probably. Isn't that crazy? Well, think about it from your perspective. Turnover is very high in this industry. It is. It's just the way it is. Why? The number one reason why, Michael, is because people are bad at being self-employed. That's the number one reason. The number two reason is you are totally reliant on your effort and your training and your tools and who you partnered with to make sales and feed your family. I did it for 20 plus years. I know the pain. I know how difficult it can be. So you need to expand, get uncomfortable, and offer complete protection utilizing your licenses. And this is how we're going to do it. We're going to talk about two things. We're going to talk about fixed index annuities, and we're going to talk about IULs. Those are both, or IULs are a form of whole life. FIAs are just a form of an annuity. But fixed index annuities, you need to have confidence. And here's the two words I'm going to say all the time. And we have some extended training that we offer that is completely free to you if you're part of Global, where I have an 11-course series where I walk you through the building blocks of how to get really, really good at selling FIAs. And so you want to have confidence and you want to be compliant. And both of these feed into each other. So let's start with this. I'm going to show you this, and I strongly recommend you write this down. So here's free information that'll help you. Whether you end up wanting to work with Global or not, this is free and this is powerful. Write this down. Here's why you should have confidence with fixed index annuities. Because the fixed index annuity is a rapidly growing tool for retirees because it is not an investment of risk. It is a guaranteed contract that provides these three things. Memorize them. Number one, elimination of market loss. Okay? You're never going to lose money in the market again with any money that you have inside a fixed index annuity. Number two, you participate in market gains. Okay. The first benefit, elimination market loss, is not exclusive. Tony, I could put my money into treasury bonds. I could put money into CDs, money market accounts. There are things that you can make sure they don't lose money in the market. But what gains will they get? See, an FIA is very unique because it has the highest earning potential when it comes to risk-free investments. Now, here's something I want to stress. Remember I said being compliant and confident feed each other? Do not sell a fixed index annuity as if it's better than the market. It is not. It's better at protecting. It's better at offering guaranteed lifetime income. It's better at these three things, but it is not better over the long term than the market. Statistically, it's not. So never sell it as that. I will literally tell my clients when I'm explaining benefit number 2, I say by nature of how a fixed index annuity is designed, you are going to participate in the market. You're not going to get all the gains and you're not going to beat the market. But you will never lose money when the market goes down. So when it comes to risk-free investments, CDs, money markets, treasury bonds, etc., you have the highest earning potential, because if the market does go up 22% and you got 14%, Tony, show me a CD outside of 1983 when mortgages were 70%. Show me a CD that gets 14%. Doesn't exist. So that's benefit number 2. And then benefit number 3 is this. I always tell clients, because there is a great deal of ignorance. Go ahead and Google, write this down, do it later. Google, what is an annuity? And they're going to give you this antiquated, ancient explanation of what an annuity is. You take a premium amount, you give it to an annuity company, and then they give you a lifetime stream of payments. And if you die too early, you lose the money. And if you live long, it's a great deal. That is not, that represents about 4% of the annuities sold and 0% of the annuities sold through Global. Doesn't mean that they don't do income annuities, but they're going to do income annuities with a guarantee that you at least get your principal back to your beneficiaries, right? Annuities have evolved so much, but an annuity is still an annuity. It's not your granddad's annuity, like I always say. They're much more contemporary and smartly built, but they are an annuity, and only an annuity, because of mortality credits, can give you a guaranteed paycheck for life. You, your spouse, your children, however you want to divide it up. So listen, remember when I said you need to have confidence, because what have I learned? I want to share something with you. I was very good at sales, did it for 2 decades. And I was selling because I needed to feed my family. I was being sued. I was selling because I had to make money. And I would go into people's houses. This is back when we do paper applications, right, Tony? You old school, driving around, hustling, doing paper applications. And it took me 18 months to sell my first annuity. Why? Because of my low self-image when it came to this. I'm just being honest. I'm being transparent. I felt that if I brought up an annuity conversation when I was in the home, they would have some girl or some guy who had an alphabet soup behind their name, some financial advisor, who had a better product, and they would have laughed at me. And I was very insecure about that. So I didn't present it. I didn't present it. What did I do? I hate being insecure. I hate feeling inferior. That's probably something that's wrong with me. I went out and got a securities license. I started my own RIA. I have the CHFC, the CEP. Again, I went and got all this knowledge. And you know what I learned? I learned that when it comes to these 3 elements, number 1, number 2, number 3, right here, no financial product is superior. So please take all that confidence and imbue it in you and stick to these 3 things. Don't sell an FIA for something it's not. Sell it for these 3 things, and this elevator pitch will hold up against anyone. So hopefully right now, just hearing that, you all should bolster your confidence. Now, how about whole life? When I say whole life, I'm primarily talking about IULs. I think they're the smartest form of whole life right now, but they are a form of whole life. So I want you to understand 3 benefits of whole life that, just like FIAs, you can't find those in other financial products. First and foremost, don't be part of the TikTok generation where they're selling whole life, or excuse me, IULs as the greatest thing since sliced bread. They're fantastic products, but they have their place. They are not better than a 401k. They are not better than the stock market. They have their place because a whole life insurance policy is a financial asset. It is not an investment, but it provides these three things. Number one, it can actually provide you guarantees in retirement. See, I'm very proud. Long time ago, I got lucky, Tony. I bought a bunch of Google. Yeah, I'm from Seattle. I bought a bunch of Google, Costco. I bought a bunch of Microsoft. I bought a bunch of Amazon. That was my biggest one. Holy cow! I mean, the smartest guy on earth, right? I just got lucky, is what it was. But did you know there's no guarantees? Look at what's happening to Boeing. People had shares that they thought would be valued around 600. Now they're hovering like down to 70. Look what happened to Enron. If your shares go to zero, you're owed zero money. You do not have a single guarantee. That is a true investment. See, it has risk premium. But a whole life policy, such as an IUL, can have guarantees. You could offer them a financial product that has a guaranteed death benefit, guaranteed premiums, guaranteed cash values. So that's important. Number one, it offers guarantees. Number two, it gives you access to tax-free cash, and the death benefit is tax-free. Now, most of the clients you sit down with are not going to be 25. If they are, if someone is 25, 30, 35, 40 years old, you can actually build so much tax-free cash arbitrage that you could retire in a tax-free way, or at least supplement your retirement significantly. But please don't sell off of hyperbole. Please don't overpromise and underdeliver. Because, Michael, you and I both know that if someone at 65, 66 years old, maybe not in the best of shape, starts to buy an IUL, one, they're probably going to have a fixed budget. Two, their cost of insurance is going to be much higher. And three, if that runway to put premium in is far shorter than someone who's 25. So to sell an IUL to someone 65, 70 years old and tell them they're going to be able to retire off of it, that's foolish. That's a lie. But it has fantastic value regardless, because even though they're starting it later, even though they have a shorter runway, even though more money goes to cost of insurance, they still are going to grow cash value. And that cash value can be accessed tax-free. And anything that they send off when they die is tax-free. And the most common situation, we're going to go over two scenarios, is paying off or giving income to the spouse. Giving income to the spouse who survives the first death. Anything beyond that to your loved ones, to your beneficiaries or a charity, fantastic. But it's tax-free money. And there's very few ways to access tax-free money or create tax-free money when it comes to the IRS. And then number three, hugely important, benefits to offset healthcare and long-term care costs. Now, I'm going to say this twice to be annoying, but I want you to know this. Life insurance is not long-term care insurance. Let me repeat it. Life insurance is not long-term care insurance. It does not have the same tax rules as a true long-term care insurance policy does. But there's something I have called the near rhetorical question. Now, a rhetorical question is one you ask and you know the answer. A near rhetorical question is one that I ask and I almost always know the answer. And that is this question. Do you currently have any sort of long-term care insurance coverage? Do you have a long-term care insurance policy? Well, according to longtermcare.gov, less than 5% of the people do. And most of them are in the upper to middle upper financial bracket. So the vast majority of you people who you sit down with are not going to have long-term care insurance. I can tell them this. I can say, well, hey, you could apply for long-term care insurance, but it's very hard to get approved later in life. It's very expensive and you're on a fixed budget. Alternatively, we could offer you an IUL, which has all these benefits like guarantees, tax-free cash and death benefit, and living benefits, which although they're not long-term care insurance, they can be a fantastic alternative that can actually allow you to access the death benefit while you're still living if you have a terminal illness, chronic illness, etc. So these are the three benefits. And just like I said before, no other financial product offers these three benefits. Only a whole life or life insurance policy with these benefits offers it. So now we're going to run through two scenarios and then we're going to open up for questions. Very easy. The first scenario is Bridget. Bridget is 65 years old. I have discovered through the financial inventory, and when you say, where are you getting these questions? That's the global process. There is a resource tool I'm about to show you that has everything for you from step 1 to step 6, cradle to grave. It shows you how to handle all of this and how you double your income. So I'm going to use this financial inventory, what we call a confidential needs analysis, right, Tony? This confidential needs analysis has been specifically structured, and we have training to show you how to use it. And I'm going to discover that Bridget is 65. She has a $225,000 IRA. She wants to retire by age 70, and she is concerned about living too long. As crazy as that sounds, her parents are still alive. Her grandparents lived in the 90s or into the hundreds, and she doesn't want to lose money into in the stock market. So, how did we discover this, and how do we act on it? This is a picture of the exclusive global premier benefits confidential needs analysis, and it has been specifically structured for you to uncover extra opportunities through this single question, through the golden question. Now, I want to take just a quick moment and almost not role play, but just almost viscerally think about yourself in front of a client. See, I'm there to help you, let's say, with a Medicare policy. So I'm going to ask you, Tony, if I was sitting down with you, I'm going to ask you very personal questions. Your name, your age, your height, your weight, your driver's license number, your social security number, your income, your medications, right? This is personal stuff. And you are willingly giving it to me. Why? Because you know that is what is needed for me to do my job to help you. But then what happens when agents are trying to sell annuities or add-on products, which they should be doing to help provide solutions and help make retirement better for their clients, they start asking some questions in a bad way. So Tony, I asked you all this personal information, but then I shift on you and I say, Tony, real quick, do you have a 401k? Do you have any stocks and bonds? How is it performed? I have seen a liturgy of bad financial inventories because there is 3 things wrong with me asking questions specifically to their retirement finances. The first one is this: I'm not confident. Remember, I told you my story. I felt very insecure. I'm not confident because I don't have a license and I'm out of my element, right? I'm underwater talking about this stuff. Number 2, Tony's not comfortable with it. He knows I'm not there to help him restructure his retirement portfolio. So he's going to be very hesitant to answer questions along those lines. And then third, you also, in lieu of some of you having a securities license, which if you do, great, many to most of you won't, you're walking in a gray area of compliance. You really shouldn't be talking to them about specific stocks, bonds, investments, or about the performance of it. So we solved it. Here it is. Here's the golden question, right? I've gone through all of these elements. I've asked them about healthcare, long-term care, medications, income. I've asked them about those things. I'm also going to ask them about their current life insurance situation. That makes sense because I'm a life insurance agent. And I'm going to say, Bridget, do you currently have any life insurance? Yes or no, term or whole life, right? And she's going to answer that. And then right on the heels of that, I'm going to ask the golden question. Bridget, do you have anything that acts like life insurance? Meaning, are you self-insured? Do you have a 401k, an IRA, an annuity, some large sum that is going to go probate-free over to your loved ones till you die, when you die? Do you see what I did there? The magic of the golden question, and I'm going to get to you about why it's golden, is that I got the same information, but I was compliant, I was comfortable asking it, and they were comfortable answering it. In fact, and Wanda, we've talked about this many times. In fact, it actually motivates them to answer it. Here's what I'm getting at. There is the id and the ego, right? If we go into Freudian discussions on how the human brain works, the ego is very, very powerful. I try every day to temper my ego. That's been my mission, and I fail many times a day. But slowly, I start to take ground on that. But I'm still tempted, as is almost anyone that you engage, to answer questions positively when it comes to ego. I'll give you an example. Tony, I know a gentleman, great guy, but he's kind of in that poor to dead broke situation. He has a duplex. He lives in one half with his 3 children, his wife, and he rents out the other half. If I asked him, do you own any investment properties? Are you a real estate investor? He's going to answer yes. See, there is a sex appeal. Your ego wants you to answer yes. It's the same thing when you ask someone, are you self-insured? Do you have a 401k and IRA or anything that you have that would pass probate free over to your loved ones if you die? Oh, heck yeah, I'm self-insured, right? People want to point at the jersey. They want to pat themselves on the back and say, yes, I'm self-insured. And I'm compliant. It's a question I can ask because I'm not asking about the performance. I'm not asking about the makeup of the portfolio. I'm simply asking if they have it. Now, in this situation, let's say Bridget replied, yes. Yes, Sean, I have a $225,000 IRA. Great. Now, here's an important thing, Michael, I want to make sure everyone understands this. We do not stop and start selling an annuity. I mean, if we're working with Med Advantage, correct me if I'm wrong, Tony, but you really can't sell another product at that time. You can ask questions, but you can't sell a product at that time. And we don't want to disrupt the sale that is our core competency. We're going to complete that. But then knowing that she has a $225,000 IRA, we're going to come back at the end of the presentation. And I always look at my watch, which I don't even have on, and I'm going to say, Bridget, I don't have much time right now. Thank you for everything. We're going to get this process. We should get an approval within the next 48 hours, et cetera, et cetera. But let me ask you one more question. And I call this the supplemental question. Bridget, you said you had a $225,000 IRA, so you are self-insured. You've set some money aside that you can use to be self-insured. Is that money protected? Is your retirement protected? Now, if you have done a good job of building rapport, but not becoming their best friend, who do we take advantage of the most? Our best friends, right? Leading, guiding, directing, they're going to give you an honest answer. And this is intentionally ambiguous. Tony, I've had a few people that say yes or no. It means they don't like me. That's going to happen. Just move on. But if they like you, they're going to give you an honest answer. They're going to say something along the lines of, I don't know, Sean, what do you mean? Well, Bridget, let me explain this. We are one of the nation's leading providers of retirement protection tools because you're part of Global, and Global is part of Integrity. Then there is none bigger. So we're one of the leading providers nationwide of retirement protection tools. We use something called an FIA or fixed index annuity. Now, I know what you're thinking, but this is not your granddad's annuity. This is a much smarter, more intelligently built, comprehensive tool that does three things better than any other financial product. Is this making sense why I keep telling you to write down and understand just these three things, and you will stay compliant and you will be confident? Number one, Bridget, eliminates market loss. You will never lose money in the market again. You said you were concerned about the market, and for good reason. I'm a patriot. I'm a capitalist. I believe in the U.S. stock market. But what if there's a tsunami that takes out California? What if there's a terrorist attack in New York again? What if we have another pandemic? There's war in the Middle East. There's the first ground war in Europe since World War II. I'd be nervous also. So any money that you put into this FIA will not lose money due to the market loss again. You can sleep well at night. Number two, it participates in market gains. And I don't want to be gratuitous and repeat this again, but you can explain to her how it has the highest earning potential of other risk-free investments, and also be compliant and say, it's not designed to beat the market, Bridget. If the market goes up 20%, you're not getting 20%. Maybe you get 10, maybe you get 12, maybe you get 14. But if the market goes down 20%, you lose nothing. That's the beautiful thing. That's why it has the highest earning potential of any other risk-free investment. And finally, it's not your granddad's annuity, Bridget, but it is still an annuity. And only annuities have mortality credits, and they can offer you a guaranteed income for life, no matter how long you live, whether you want it split between you and your husband and your children, any way you design it, that can be executed. So, Bridget, I want to ask you something. If any of these or all three of these are of interest to you, if they've piqued your interest, then what we need to do is we need to sit down next week at the same time. And notice, agents, I'm saying next week at the same time, and I will discuss this. We have a team. Take it off your shoulders. You're brand new to this. Don't carry the stress of being an expert. You are licensed to deliver this information. You are licensed to sign them up, but you can take it off and say, we have a core team that I securely send this information to, and they have a bunch of experts that are going to look at the state, your age, your needs, and the products. They're going to look at 30 plus carriers and hundreds of products, and they're going to put together what they feel is the best fit solution for you. I'm going to come present it to you next week. Sound good? I'm telling you what, you do this the right way, their head is going to be nodding. It sounds good because you've piqued their interest and you've stayed totally compliant. You've alleviated the stress that you could have had if you were selling this, not knowing what you're doing. And you don't have to put up your laptop, start guessing which carrier, which product, am I even contracted with them? What in the heck's my login? How do I run the illustrations? What am I going to explain to them? Do you see the stress that causes? It's eliminated with what Global set up. Because here's the magic. What you're going to do now is you're going to go access, if you're contracted with Global, you're going to go access the Life and Annuity Resource Center, the LARC. This is an exclusive tool that allows you to, one, get additional training, right? You see your annuity badge there? That's me walking you through 88 minutes of training. So you think if you're getting any confidence from this webinar, just wait till you watch those 88-minute videos. 11 videos, there's quizzes at the end, and you get a badge. You get a little download certification that proves that you did it. Remember that financial inventory we talked about? This is something that Tony and Michael and the team have scrutinized and built that includes the golden question and everything you need. And we have additional training on how to access multiple sales for life and annuity beyond what you do. And notice the Ask a Specialist. See, you don't have to know which carrier. You keep moving on in the efficient manner of moving to the next client and the next client and the next client. Global does the work on the back end. You just click on the Ask a Specialist. It pops up a secure form. You fill out all the information that you have. And trust me, if you don't know, most of the drop downs have, I don't know, as an option. But the experts are going to look at this and they're going to come back to you with the best solution for that. And you gave it a week. This usually takes about 24 to 48 hours to come back to you. And they're going to send you the carrier, the product. They're going to make sure you're contracted. If not, they're going to give you a Sure LC link so you can get contracted with it. They're going to give you the illustrations. They're going to give you a narrative of why this makes sense. You get to literally read that narrative to your client. They're going to give you a couple videos that show you how to go sell this. And then they're going to give you their phone number and their email. So if you have any questions, how powerful is that? And trust me, you won't be great your first time. You'll be much better your second time. By the third time you do it, you're going to start feeling very comfortable. So set down your ego and go be willing to serve. Have a servant's heart and say, you know what? I haven't sold a lot of these, but I want to walk you through this the best I can. The fact that a group of experts recommended it makes this so much easier because you just have to regurgitate what they are saying. And if you don't know the answer, be honest. Tony, I don't know the answer to that, but I'm going to write it down and ask the team of experts and I'm going to find out for you. Clients love reality. Clients love real people. Be real, service them, have that servant's heart, and you're going to find yourself tremendously successful when it comes to these annuities. Now, here's a hypothetical situation. This is a real product. Wanda has just updated it. Thank you, Wanda. But just high level, do you think you could sell this? So you come back to Bridget 1 week later. And you say, Bridget, I want to show you something. This is a fixed index annuity called the Performance Pro from an A+ rated carrier called Fidelity and Guarantee. If you put your $225,000 premium in there, they're going to immediately, and this is not a typo, they're going to immediately give you a 15% bonus, cash bonus. So you just made, you just went from 225 to 258. Right? You just made some serious money. Now, what they're going to do is they're going to let you participate in the S&P 500. If the S&P 500 goes up, you get the first 6%. Now, on average, what does the S&P do? Not TR, total return is counting dividends, but just from a price point, 7, 8%. Well, if I'm getting 6% and none of the downside, because keep in mind, what happens statistically once out of every 4 or 5 years, the market goes down, the S&P. What happens statistically once every 9 years, we have a bear market, right? Bears tear down and we lose over 20%. In fact, the average loss since 1957 of the bear markets, the average loss, which happens on average every 9 years, and we've had 3 of them since 2020, is 41%. That's pretty freaking scary considering that you're getting ready to retire. You're protected. You lose nothing. Now, at age 70, and here's the average rate of return. We use backcasting when you get 6%, when you get 0%, et cetera. At age 70, you start turning on an income stream. You're making over $16,000 a year. And then when you die, let's say you live to the ripe old age of 95, you would have made $408,000 and you still have $134,000 that you could use to go on a vacation. You could buy a car. You could repair your house. You could use it for long-term care, end-of-life healthcare costs, or you could give it to your beneficiaries, or you could give it to a charity. But you will sleep well at night because you would never participate in the losses. You have the highest gain potential of any other risk-free product, and you can turn on that guaranteed lifetime income. Could you sell that? If you sat down with 100 people, I'm talking to you agents, if you sat down with 100 people and this was presented to you, could you sell it? The answer is heck yeah, you could. Not everyone, but you could sell this. And if you sell this, you're going to be able to make an average commission of $12,000. So how many, Tony, if I asked you real quick, I apologize. Love you, but have a good day. If I asked you, Tony, what's the average, how many Medicare policies would it take to make $12,000?
I would say, Michael, what would you say about 30?
Yeah, it's a mixed bag, but yeah, 30 to 40.
Yeah, depending on if it's new to Medicare, if it's a Med Sup, or if it's
Med Advantage, yeah, exactly.
yeah, or if it's a replacement, or if it's just renewal only. So I'd say average about 30. Would you say that, Michael? Yeah, about 30.
But that's significant. And the fact that this didn't cost you a different license, different leads, right? This is the same person you're sitting down with. It's hugely valuable. And I want you to know Global Premier Benefits is very competitive with the compensation. I say this, one of the reasons, and Tony, don't take this the wrong way, but I have people ask me to do webinars, and a lot of them I decline because I don't like how the business is set up. You know, the most important person in this entire hierarchy is the client.
Yes.
Don't ever lose sight of that. Number two, it's the agent. Because Tony, you and I would be out there, bagging groceries or washing cars or doing something if agents didn't sell. So you are the most important person in this ecosystem other than the client. So Tony and I are aligned in that, and he makes sure that you all have great compensation. So there you go. You just knocked out 25, 30 policies just by offering something that is a benefit to them. $12,000. Now, let's quickly go through this.
I do want to jump in real quick,
Please
Sean,
do.
and
Please
give
do.
you a shout out because you did this workshop right before AEP. We had a young gentleman, I think he's about 27 years old, big in the Medicare business, does some incredible work, but he went out and did his first one. He was 1-for-1 doing an annuity. He's already got it submitted to Miss Wanda and he's going to make about $18,000 on one sale, in addition to his Medicare sales. That was just one. I said, can you imagine if you can do one of those a week? Yeah. So he's real excited to, load up more in helping the client in need, because that's what it's really all about. He's really, changed this client's life for the better. And what he told me is that the client was hugging and kissing him. It was an older lady. She's like, she never understood how this worked because there's so much financial illiteracy in our world, and it's more prevalent than ever in that 65 and older crowd. And this was something that was a godsend for that client. And the agent he's 1 out of 1. His first shot, he made $18,000 helping a client. He felt like he would have done it for $500. He says, but to make $18,000 in what, an hour, 2 hours time, helping a client in need, it was like he's like, I wish I would have started this sooner. He loves it.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point. You're going to be running into a lot of people who represent the underserved, right? I have a securities license. I've done the AUM. Tony, if someone has $80,000 of investable assets, I'm going to get 1% or less. Do you think they have no questions? No, they actually have more questions because they have less money to live off of. They're scared, and they should be. If someone has 800,000, now my 1% is a little bit more meaty. Now, and they probably have fewer questions and different concerns. So you're going to run a lot of people that are the underserved. And I don't want you, and we're going to talk about this at the end, you ask them, you present it, it's yes or no, you move on to the next one. Your time, your energy is very valuable. But trust me, just like Tony said, you're going to be shocked about how many people have not been helped at all, who've not been served. And when you present this situation, those 3 benefits, right? Protecting against market loss, having highest potential growth amongst risk-free investments, and being able to turn on income for life, you're going to find a lot of people say, thank you, God, because that is exactly what I need. And that's what you're doing is you're helping them. Now let's look at one last scenario. Let's look at Tom. Tom is 65, not in the best of health, has type 2 diabetes. He's modestly overweight. His wife is 63 and she's extremely healthy. Women are smarter and healthier and tougher than men anyway, so she's going to outlive him. And he's much less healthy than she is. When we asked Tom the golden question, Tom, do you have anything that acts like life insurance? His answer was no. What we did find out is that he has a Social Security benefit of $2,000 and her Social Security benefit is $600. Now I'm going to quiz you all, right? Basics of Social Security. When the first person dies, and let's say it's probably going to be Tom, the surviving spouse retains what? Which of the Social Securities? The lower, the higher, or both? They retain the higher of the two. Now that sounds all well and good, but here's the problem. She loses $600 a month. If your spouse dies, do you get like some card from the IRS and you go in to buy gas and now gas is half price? Do you go to your landlord or to your mortgagee and say your mortgager and say, here's my death card for my spouse. My mortgage is now cut in half. Does a gallon of milk cost half as less? I mean, obviously there's a few less spendings, but the reality is fighting inflation and longevity. She could have to live for a decade with the loss of $600 a month. So Tom is concerned about losing that spousal income. He's concerned about the unknown long-term care and healthcare costs, and he's concerned about covering those and maybe even passing money on to his loved ones. Do we have a solution? Well, when we asked the golden question, Tom, do you have anything that acts like insurance? He said no. First and foremost, have empathy. Do you think Tom set out at age 30 to be broke at 65? See, life hits hard. We must have empathy. Most of us can relate. You know, there might be someone on this call who's living off a trust fund and they get an inheritance. Good for you, and contact me later, right? Let's become friends. But most people, life is a freaking struggle, right? So have a ton of empathy when you are talking to someone, because statistically, Tony, you and I both know more people are going to answer no than yes when it comes to this question. So does that mean we can't help them? No, that's why it's the golden question. Whether it's yes or whether it's no, I can help them. Because we're going to come to the end of our presentation. We're going to help them with what our core competency was. If we're there to do a Medicare policy, we're there to do a final expense policy, we're going to look and finish that business. But then we're going to have a separate supplemental question. Go ahead and write this down. And if you're with Global, you get all access to this. You get the training, you get the recording, you get everything. But we're going to ask them this supplemental question. Have you ever considered an IUL to supplement your retirement? It's intentionally a bit ambiguous, but it is completely accurate and truthful. Tom, have you considered an IUL to supplement your retirement? And Tom says, I don't know what you mean, but can you explain? Sure. We can protect and build and create and supplement a retirement with an index universal life. Now, index universal life is a financial asset. It's not an investment, but it does three things that investments don't do. One, it can provide guarantees, such as guaranteed death benefits, premiums, or cash values. Two, it gives you access to tax-free cash, and everything that you pass on, in this case, most likely to your spouse who you love, is going to be completely tax-free. And number three, you said you were concerned about end-of-life healthcare costs, which you should, because statistically 96% of Americans don't have long-term care insurance. So you were one of those 96. But they have something called living benefits that you can actually access the death benefit while you're still living if you have a terminal, critical illness, etc. So it's not long-term care insurance, but it is a fantastic alternative. So if any of these three things are of value to you, Tom, then what I'd like to do is set up a time, set up a meeting, same time next week. Tom says yes. We go back to the exclusive LARC, Life Annuity Resource Center. We click on the Ask a Specialist. This time we choose the Life tab. We choose the Life tab. We submit everything that we have, securely send it over, and then they come back with a solution. In this case, we've got the Mutual of Omaha IUL Express. This is actually a product I'm proud to say I helped design in 2018, 2019 with Mutual of Omaha. It is all S&P driven. So they have an S&P cap of, I think, 9%, but we're illustrating 5.92. And I don't want to go into great detail, but they can get $100,000 on Tom, 100 grand for less than $250 a month. And what does that mean? Well, if Tom lives to 75, They would have invested, let's round up to 30,000, and now his wife gets $100,000 tax-free. What if Tom lived to 85? Now that's stretching it for his health. They would have put in 60,000 rounding up, and she gets 100. You talk about pennies on the dollar, and it's tax-free. And keep in mind, it builds cash value. So if there's ever an emergency, they can access this cash tax-free for the life of the policy. And any of the death benefit could have been used as a living benefit. So they don't screw up all their finances having to liquidate items in order to get Tom help for end-of-life healthcare costs. Do you see the flexibility and the power of that? Do you think you could sell this? I sure as heck do, because I know we've sold billions of dollars worth of this over the last since 2019. And your commission, $3,000. We don't do it for the 3,000. We do it because we want to help someone, but we also are there to feed our family. We're also there because we're professionals and we want to be paid. And that is a great compliment. So here are the steps to doubling your income. Number one, download the confidential needs analysis. Okay, download the confidential needs analysis. Number two, ask the golden question every single time. Never be intimidated by anyone. For me, so I grew up with a single mom. I was comfortable with women. Old cantankerous guys, the 70-year-old codger, Tony, that would be like, what's the price? Get out of my house. Like they barely wanted it. They were doing that because they were being defensive. You slow down, you do your job, you ask the golden question every time. And I want you to know this. You won't have everyone want to do business with you. You'll have people say no. Understand people are bad at confrontation. So they might tell you over and over again, I'm thinking about it. Please email me, call me later. Please don't waste your valuable asset, your time. Your energy is important. If someone says no, move on to the next one. I'm going to give you a quick analogy. Michael, I'm at prom. Okay. Well, obviously it'd be really weird if the 49-year-old was at prom, but let's say I'm the 17-year-old version. I'm at prom. I want to go dance. I want to dance with this girl, or maybe that girl, or maybe this guy. I don't know, whatever it is. I want to go dance. I could do it one of two ways. I could walk up to Susie. I could say, Susie, you look nice. Do you enjoy the music? How's the punch? I could spend 30 minutes, but I have not asked Susie if she wants to dance. Let's say I asked Susie to dance. She says, sorry, I came with Tony. Okay. I just wasted 30 minutes. I spent a lot of energy and a lot of emotion on that. What I should do is say, Susie, would you like to dance? Yes or no? No? Great. Mandy, would you like to dance? Yes or no? Great. Tony, would you like to dance? Yes? Great. We're dancing. You see what I'm saying? You must be efficient and respect your time over everything else. Number three, submit all your scenarios to the exclusive Life and Annuity Research Center. Let Global make you efficient. Let Global, for no cost. This does not affect your commission. You don't have to pay anything for it. Let Global do the work for you. And if you do this, you're going to write at least one annuity per quarter and one IUL per month. And that is going to double your income. So before I open up for questions, I wanted to stress one thing. And Michael, actually, I might let you explain this, because we have a process that if they want to get contracted, if they want to access these tools, will you explain to them two things? One, how they do it, how they get going. And two, what we're going to offer as a special reward or a special incentive for if they do that. So Michael, could you go ahead and insert that?
Absolutely. Yes, sir. Well, first of all, thank you, Sean. You did a tremendous job presenting this content. I know people took a lot of notes. I myself actually have my little notepad writing stuff down, and there were a handful of questions in the chat. Now, to answer your question, Sean, I do have actually those next steps here. To keep it simple, everybody, I'll send you the next steps here, but if you want to get started immediately, go to globalpremierbenefits.com, and then there's a button on the top right that says Get Contracted. Just click that button and it'll show you what you do. Or if you're on a computer and you have your mobile device handy, you can scan the QR code there and it'll take you to the same place. Ultimately, if you do that today, and we have a lot of reasons why you should not wait, ultimately, because there will be an uptick in January. But starting today, if you start your contract, and we can see that on the portal, we'll get you a copy of Sean's book there, The 7 Benefits of FIAs for Retirement. That book is awesome. We've had a lot of people on our team dive into that in recent webinars. So if you start your contracting today, we'll get you a copy of that book as long as we can get your contract started on that portal. Tony, did you have something you wanted to share there?
Nope.
Yeah,
Oh, Tony, I'm sorry. I think it's
no,
Sean.
go ahead, Sean. You go ahead,
I
sir.
have nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I appreciate that offer, Sean, and what you did today was amazing. I know we have a few more questions, but before we do that, reason why it's important to get started right away, because as Michael said, there's going to be a big uptick in contracting for the new year. I know a lot of people are excited because of the obvious. The stock market's doing better than ever with the recent changes that we're going to see coming in our administration and our government. So that's exciting news for definitely for Medicare agents, but also for life and annuity agents. So we're really excited. What I don't want to see is people get caught up in the rat race to try to get contracted by January. So you want to do it now. So that way you can get the training done and get the supporting done. You can start helping your clients right away. Several of our agents that we've already done this workshop for already have, several clients lined up, the week of December 8th to come back to see them then. So that way they can completely focus on that. So I expect a record number of people being served on this platform, our annuity platform, for the month of December. So it's going to be a huge month, Sean. So we're really excited about what you provided today. Back to you, Sean.
Yeah, thank you so much. Before we answer the questions, you had mentioned something there, and I say this completely agnostically. Okay, I don't care who you voted for. What I do know is that the stock market, okay, the stock market is selfish. It goes up or down. And even though the executive branch has very little to do with monetary policy, I mean, they don't really control it, and that's for a very good reason. The influence that the current election has, and the fact that whether it was all Democratic or all Republican, the fact that all three branches now have the ability to get stuff done, you got to look at stuff that was supposed to be sunsetted, like the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. That's sunsetting at the end of 25. It's probably going to be extended. You're going to have people who are have higher standard deductions than ever. The tax rates should be lower or stay lower compared to what they might be. This is a great time to make hay. All right, this is a great time to make hay because people's retirement accounts, their 401ks, their IRAs, as they're heading into retirement, are going to be swelled at an all-time high. But the old adage is what, Tony? The old adage is buy low, sell high. Taking some of those winnings. Now, if you're 25, 35, keep putting that money in. Dollar cost averaging, right? You want the market to come down at certain times so you can expand what your investment is. But if you're in that glide path mode, if you're 50, 55, 60, 65 years old, or first years of retirement, 65, 70, 75 years old, right? That's the glide path. Read about it. Tom Hegna speaks well about it. Google glide path in retirement, and you're going to see all of these different reasons why people need to protect their income around time. Take some of those winnings, take the chips off the table and put them into an FIA. Because one of the things I teach, and we have more expansive education that is available. You saw one of the panels there, Michael, was my annuity training. I teach about all these things. You will come out of it so confident, but you got to be part of Global to be able to access that extra training, the 11 videos and the quizzes and the certificate. But take those chips off the table, put some of it, because I never teach taking everyone's money. The carrier won't even approve that. But it is a fantastic time for people while the market is up to move money over and have a safe bucket for the retirement and have those benefits of the FIA, as I explained before. Michael, let's go through and answer the questions. If you go ahead and you've been on it, can you just ask me the questions that need to be answered, and I will go ahead and answer them?
Absolutely. Before we dive into that, I know Wanda had her 2 cents she'd like to share. Hi, Wanda.
Hey, Michael. Hey, everyone. Thanks for being on the call today. Yeah, I just wanted to throw out there another reason this is a really good time to get contracted with Global and get into this platform. We're approaching the holidays. Also, people are planning for the new year. And if you really want to increase your revenue in 2025 and get a jump start on it, those of you on this call have a unique opportunity to be some of the first producers to jump into this platform. It's a good time to get out there and get that training done. Also, download that confidential needs analysis form. You're going to be running into family, friends, people you haven't seen in a long time over the holidays. It's a great time to maybe have some of these conversations with people that you typically only see once a year. With the holidays coming, often I know families that sit down and have some of these conversations when they have all the family members together. So this is a great time to get contracted so you can jump out to that platform before the first of the year, take that training, get your contracts in place, you're ready to go January 1st. And in the next few weeks, you can even download that confidential needs analysis form and start talking to people now. So you have appointments set here at the end of the year or beginning of the year, just to kind of jumpstart your 2025 and your goals that you have to increase your revenue. But the holidays are a great time to get in front of a lot of people, especially to family members and friends and neighbors. It's amazing how many people can set appointments even during the holidays. So it's a great time to think about, hey, I want to get started today. I want to get contracted so I can get in there and get that training done, get familiar with that confidential needs analysis form. So reach out to Michael today and get started.
Thank you, Wanda. Yes, I appreciate that. There are a handful of questions here in the chat that I've done my best to get to throughout, but let me go ahead and address that now. So is the LARC training still active? Yeah. I mean, Sean, not to steal your thunder, but yeah, it's still active. If you're a part of Global already, or if you'd like to become so, you go to our website and you log in. The Associate tab has the LARC link listed down there. Another question. This one's for Sean. How do we overcome the Dave Ramsey syndrome? I like that. I appreciate that, Craig. I asked him to elaborate a little bit, and he was saying he's met a lot of people who believe that Dave Ramsey's this financial god, and he's totally against annuities. And what do we do with those people? Like, how do we address that?
Yeah, that is a fantastic question. Same thing with Ken Fisher, the head of Fisher Investments. Here's what I recommend. First and foremost, never submit every scenario and handle every scenario differently. If someone is following a Dave Ramsey plan, and my answer is going to surprise you, okay? And Dave Ramsey is saying, don't do annuities. There's a reason why Dave Ramsey's doing that. Did you know he owns one of the largest insurance agencies in the United States? That's why he pushes term. Do you know he has ownership in a BD, right? So Dave Ramsey is self-serving, but I would not recommend you try to butt horns with someone who is convinced that Dave Ramsey is telling them what they need to do. My advice is you move on to the next person. Now that kind of shocks you, but I've done this for so long. You can be right, and it still doesn't matter. They're following Dave Ramsey, and here's the deal. I played football. I love football. I still coach football. Actually, this is my last season. Well, no, I have one more spring, 7v7 coaching stint. But you're in Baltimore, right, Michael?
Yeah, more or less.
Okay.
I'm in Baltimore. I tell people I'm from Baltimore. Yeah.
So the Ravens are awesome, right? The Ravens can come out there with a 23 package and run the ball very well and make some very effective play action passes and win games. The Seahawks, where I live, where I'm from, single back, sometimes no back, 5 wides, and they can move the ball. They have a very effective offense. Defense is a little suspect, but they have a very effective offense. My point is this: if you buy into an offense, you can move the ball, you can score points. They have bought into the Dave Ramsey offense rather than trying to battle him. I can give you every reason why that's wrong and we're right, but move on to the next one would actually be my suggestion. And the answer is he's being self-serving. It doesn't mean that what he's selling is bad. If you follow his system, it will work. If you follow our system, it will work. But keep in mind, these are best interest rules. We're going to submit it and we're going to provide what's in his best interest. It's actually a law in essentially all 50 states now. So annuities, and this is what I would challenge Dave Ramsey with. I'd say, Dave, if my client is interested in putting money into a product that is completely protected from market loss, has the highest upside potential when it comes to risk-free products, and can offer guaranteed lifetime income, what product would you recommend beats that? So if you really wanted to lock horns with them, stick to those 3 things. Can't beat it. Go ahead. What's the next question?
Excellent. Thank you, Sean. That was actually different than the advice I suggested, but I appreciate the
sorry. I didn't
perspective.
want,
No,
Yeah.
I was saying they can't afford not to listen to what you have to say. But if they're
Yeah.
if they're staunch and they're digging their heels in, there's no point. You're right. Just
Yeah.
move on to the next one. Let's see. Are we able to complete the confidential needs analysis for a Medicare Advantage appointment? I went ahead and said we have a Medicare sales boot camp. We have a needs analysis as part of that. I recommend that you check that out. It's on Global's website. However, what are the risks of taking money from the cash value of an index universal life, an IUL?
Excellent question. So Zena is asking, hey, if I've built up this cash value in an IUL, what are the risks if I actually access that cash value? Well, the risk of the policy imploding are zero, because almost every carrier that I'm aware of, Brad, tell me if there's one I'm wrong, if I'm missing something, they're going to have a non-lapse provision. So they're only going to let you access enough cash so that you don't collapse the policy. So that's not a risk. The risk is essentially that it doesn't have enough death benefit for your living benefits or for passing on to your loved ones. Because here's how it works. You have cash value. You have a death benefit. In most situations, what we do is we actually don't take the cash from the cash value. They give you a loan with the cash value as the collateral. That way that if the policy goes up 9% next year, all of your cash gains 9%. That's how it's structured in the vast majority of cases. We don't actually take the cash, we take a loan against it, which is non-reportable, which is why it's tax-free. But just know that if you access too much cash, it's a priority thing. Cash is cash, whether it sits in a CD, a savings account, under your mattress, or in an IUL. You have to be smart on what the priority is. So ask yourself, why are you taking this cash out, Mr. or Mrs. Client? They say, because I want to go buy a new car. Okay. Know that if you take out cash value, it is paid by the death benefit. So you don't have to pay it back. The death benefit pays it off. But if you take cash and don't pay it, let's say you take 40,000, you have $100,000 death benefit, not counting any interest calculations. You just cut your death benefit down to 60,000. So you now cut your wife's income from having 7 years of income replacement down to 3 or 4. Does that make sense? So it's a matter of prioritization. So what you risk is the lower death benefit and less tax-free cash that will go to your loved ones, or less death benefit that you can use for end-of-life healthcare, Medicare, and long-term care costs through your living benefits. Does that make sense, Zena?
We'll give her a second there.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Excellent. Is there a cost for contracting? That was the next question.
No, not from BI side. I don't. Do you all charge anything for contracting?
Nope, not from
No
what I've
cost for
seen.
contracting. And hey, get in line, because there's going to be a ton of people trying to contract in the first quarter. Wanda was talking about that. There's some key carriers we'll get you contract with that you're going to use. F&G being one of them, Athene. Get those carriers. So click on with Global and get at least 1 or 2 of those contracted. You get the book. You get access to the LARC, and you get those contracts before the line gets too long, because it's going to get really busy come Q1.
Yeah, good point, Sean. Contracting, we always see business tick up in January. So that means contracting is going to get busy too. So your contract's in now before it gets busy.
Yes.
Next question.
Yeah. Please.
I'm working with an FMO for health and life already, but is this a captive appointment? And absolutely not. We don't touch your book. We don't do anything captive. You're completely independent. You own everything on you, no matter what. So the example I like to use is, if you come aboard with us today, you sell one plan, and then tomorrow you want to release, yeah, that's coming with you, that one thing. So
Yep.
we don't want to touch that. We understand how hard it is and how much effort you put in. We want you to be rewarded for that all the way around. Wandy, this one's from you. Clients have concerns in retirement. That was answering the question. Do you split commissions with Brokers International? No. What's that got to do with
No.
anything?
Yeah, and in
No.
full transparency, Brokers is one of the 3 largest in the nation. Okay. Brokers makes money off of holding the contracts. Understand this: carriers are reluctant to have their own sales force. Here's why, Michael. They'd rather pay money, have other people build the sales force, brokerages, massive brokerages, like a Brokers International, and then all the liabilities on them. They keep it arm's length. That's how this industry has worked. 94% of distribution is through independence, and that's what Brokers is. Brokers helps companies with tools. They help them with contracts. Brokers gets money at the top, money that you would never see as an agent or even an agency. And that has to do with them going back to 1983 and the massive volume. We're talking billions and billions of dollars of premium that they push through. There, it does not affect your commission whatsoever. You move up the ladder based on your production. And I can tell you firsthand, that's one of the reasons I work with Global is they put their agents, starting agents at very competitive, some of the highest competitive comp to start with in the industry. So there is no split with Brokers International. And do I use SILAC? Camille, we have SILAC. I don't use them. I do not use a company. They are, if you do research it, if you look at 777, the reinsurer, the issue that they've had buying like 4 football teams, that's soccer teams in England and Italy, I wouldn't touch them. We do have a SILAC contract though, and our E&O has made an exception to allow them. Be very careful. There are other carriers. I would look at Athene over SILAC every day of the week. But we do have them.
Sean, to add my 2 cents there, I like to hear my own voice. That's that's the problem with salespeople on a webinar. We all like to talk. As far as Athene, we actually did a deep dive with Athene. What was that, 2 months ago? I think we recorded that session and we had their guest speaker run through a whole slide deck. So if you guys want to find out a little more info, that's on our LARC training portal on Global's website, which of course you would need to be contracted with us to access, but
yes,
just wanted to add that in there. Great stuff. Any other questions, comments, feedback? Guys, the floor is yours. You feel free to unmute yourselves if you'd like.
Can
Hey,
you speak
Sean,
a little bit more as to why you would not go with SILAC?
yes, they've been downgraded by AM Best, and they've been downgraded because of their reinsurance situation. Also, Camille, I'm going to tell you some inside baseball here. I sit on the advisory board of 2 annuity carriers, large ones, Athene being one of them. I've also helped construct FIAs. The bonus, the caps, and the commissions that they offer. So if you look at those elements, that has to come from somewhere, Camille, right? It is, and them not being backed by a private equity group, which is actually in my mind a positive thing. When you look at KKR for Global, when you look at Apollo and Athene, when you look at F&G owning their own reinsurance, they have an arbitrage of an additional 4%, which is why people can't touch the products. And Athene owning their own reinsurance, not being the spoke on the hub, being the actual hub. SILAC does not have those advantages, and they are offering more. The math doesn't work out. So even before they started getting downgraded, I looked at it and said, they're carving that pie too many pieces. They're over promising. So now statistically, your E&O probably does not cover you if you had any sort of incident happen with a B-rated carrier. And them being downgraded, there's other carriers that I feel their products are just as good. And so that's why I wouldn't write them, Camille, if that helps. And I'm not trying to make this a slander session. This is agnostic. This is, you will still, I've been in this business a long, long time. You might have also, you know what I did once is I sold a bunch of these synthetic indexes. I'm just giving you an example. Synthetic indexes that were illustrated at 10%. And then they got their statement, it didn't do 10%. And then they got their second year statement, it didn't do 10%. And I had to eat crow, and I hated it. And I switched to just selling S&P, right? Or showing my illustrations, overriding it at 6%, because I didn't want to overpromise. I had to learn by taking my lashes on that one. I would be sick if they got downgraded again or went into receivership. And when I know from the inside out that what they're offering is, no one is better at creating fixed yield than Athene. I know them intimately well from Grant on down, and they're trying to, and they have, SILAC is not as built as richly as Athene is. They don't have the same advantages, and they're promising more. They're overextending yield. That scares me. So that's my 2 cents. Actually, that's my 8 cents probably, Camille.
Okay,
Great
thank
stuff.
you. And then they were downgraded from a B+ to a B?
Yeah. Look at, just
Okay.
look at, type it up. You're going to see, you're going to read about 777 and the 2 brothers or the guys. You know, it's when you get rich kids, I worry about I shouldn't say it that way, but you get wealthy kids that the guys call them kids, younger guys that are trying to manage big things and expand. The reinsurer 777 bought soccer teams. These are massively expensive and technically overpriced investments. Do you really want your insurance company's premiums to be going to support soccer teams? And think of how volatile that could be.
Right.
If the Premier League, if you win, great, maybe you're making a lot of money, but what if you drop down?
Right.
And I only know a little bit about how soccer works, but that stuff makes me nervous. So for all those reasons, Camille, take a look at it, look at the downgrading, and I would be careful.
Great job,
Thank you.
Sean. Can we give Sean a hand, please?
Woohoo! Thanks, Sean. Great job.
Sean, you lived up to our expectations. You exceeded our expectations.
Great
as
job.
always.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, what you do is incredible, and enjoy our partnership. So grateful to the
Great
day
job,
when they
Sean.
announced
Great
that you're
job.
going to be our chief sales officer.
Yeah.
Because what you've done is incredible. I can see why you've been so successful, sir, and it's been an honor and a privilege. Love the humility, love the stories. Your training was amazing. I may tell you this: if you guys dive deep into this, especially with Sean's additional training that he has on our platform, you will be blown away. You'll have all the confidence you need to go out there and serve your clients better, because that's why we're in this business. We want to help save clients money. We want to get them better benefits, whether through our Medicare, life products, health products, wealth planning products, but ultimately we want to protect their assets. The people we're dealing with don't have the room to make up for mistakes. A 20 or 30-year-old can, but someone in their 60s and 70s, this is one of the most important decisions they'll ever make. So I'm just so thankful and blessed to have Brokers International and Sean Ruggiero, Wanda Bates, the entire organization and team, all the specialists. Guys, you have a team behind you that's first class in the industry that will help you become extremely successful in this industry. So I appreciate you, brother. You've been awesome. Any final words, Sean?
No, likewise. Thank you, Tony. Love you, man. Appreciate
Love you too,
guys.
brother.
And listen, Global's doing it the right way. I can say that because I know Tony personally. So don't hesitate, right? Make the move, be bold, move forward, and go to double your income in 2025. And without you all, we'd be nothing. So thank you, everyone, on this call.
Thank you. God bless. Thank you so
Excellent.
much.
The last couple of slides here, guys, as we said before, if you start your contracting today, we'll send you a copy of Sean's book for free. We do have a couple of incentives and campaigns as per the chat. Somebody reached out. We do have, I think I have a summary slide here somewhere. There it is. This is a summary slide, and I'm being quick for the sake of time because we went well past the 60 minutes. So I appreciate you all staying aboard. Take a snapshot of this. I'll send it to you guys after today, along with the recording of this session. But if you want to reach out to me, again, my name is Mike. I'm the head of marketing here at Global. My number is 443-478-2853. You can call or text. That is my direct line. My email is mkaplan@globalpremierbenefits.com. That's my direct information, as well as Tony Holland. Tony's the integrity managing partner here. His phone number is 443-253-3634. That's his direct line. Feel free to text him. He gets a lot of calls, a lot of texts. So text him first so we can save you to his phone, and then we can go from there. And then, Tony, you want to bring us home?
Yeah, as I said, our mission statement's been pretty clear. We're all about changing and saving our clients' lives. That's why we're in this business. Yes, the money's great. It's nice seeing our agents make 6-7-figure income, get amazing renewals. But most importantly, it's about providing the right kind of service to our clients in need. There's millions of clients out there right now that need our healthcare products. They need our life products. And they definitely need help with what you learned today with fixed index annuities. What we're doing is incredible. We're giving them richer benefits. We're protecting their assets and ultimately saving them money and making their golden years more golden than ever. So I want to thank you guys, and God bless again. Thank you.